What's up, guys? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more of our videos. Also, make sure you follow us all over social media so you don't miss any of our content or show announcements. I wanted to just very briefly talk about the Lakers and their loss in Brooklyn last night. I'm not worried about it at all. There's not much margin for error with the injuries. Like, you have no LeBron, no Rui Hachimura, no Jackson Hayes, and no Dorian Finney-Smith. That's 4 of your core 8 playoff rotation players. LeBron's your second best player. Rui's probably your 4th best player. So, like, you don't have much margin for error when you're down that many guys. So if Austin Reaves and Luka Doncic are also going to shoot 11 for 40 from the field, you're going to have a hard time beating anyone, right? It's just there's too much going against you in that sort of situation. And so some of this, like, honestly, it's just a really bad confluence of events. So LeBron happens to suffer his first injury of the year when you're already down 2 forwards and your starting center, right? Luca happens to be having one of the worst shot-making stretches of his career, which we'll get to in a second. And Austin Reaves has always been a guy that takes a little bit of time to get his rhythm when he's been out of the lineup for a little bit. And so Austin's really struggling because he's been out of the lineup and he's been out of rhythm. Luka's having this like brutal shot making stretch where he can't make any of the jump shots that he typically makes in his throughout the rest of his career. And you're just absolutely brutalized by injuries in the front court. It's just a rough spot, right? And I actually kind of view it as a blessing in disguise because the team had been winning a lot. Obviously, they'd been the best team in the league for almost 2 months. So like, it's one of those things where you had a little bit of slippage in your execution against Boston, right? And so JJ was able to use the Brooklyn loss last night to just basically rip his team a new one and essentially like use it as a motivator to refocus the team. Like, it's not a big deal that they lost to the Nets. It's not going to be some sort of dramatic issue with where they're at in the standings. Like, I don't necessarily think getting any specific seed other than staying out of the play-in matters. I think getting to April healthy is really all that matters. And so it's more important for you to be sharp. And so if you drop a game against the Nets that is just a confluence of events and you lose against the defending champions on their home floor in a game where a bunch of down 2 starters and a bunch of other things don't go your way, it's really nothing to overreact to. But JJ can package that as a message to put in front of the Lakers to be like, we have to be better at this stuff. Because guess what? If they want to win the trophy, they do kind of have to be better at that stuff. And it's just a perfect excuse to use as a motivator for this team. The part that I want to keep an eye on, though, is Luka's shot making. Because like, this is the part that has me most excited about the ultimate potential of this team. Austin's been out. He'll eventually get it back. That will go a long way towards helping this team. But we haven't even begun to scratch the surface of how good the Lakers can be when Luka is Luka. Here's a crazy stat to demonstrate for you guys the gap in shot-making ability between this version of Luka Doncic and the version of Luka Doncic that took the Dallas Mavericks to the finals last year. In 12 games with the Lakers, Luka has managed to make at least 10 field goals twice in 12 games. Last year with the Dallas Mavericks, in 70 games, he made at least 10 shots 50 times. 50 of the 70 games. That's the level of shot making that Luka can still get to relative to where he's been with the Lakers. That's where the excitement comes. Do I think the Lakers are actually the best defense in the NBA? No. They've been defending like that, but I don't actually think they're the best defense in the NBA. My guess is they're somewhere in the 5 to 10 range, given the type of personnel that they have. But they can be so much better on offense. That is the side of the floor that they can make dramatic improvements through simplifying some of their spacing principles. JJ's been talking a lot about this. I'm not going to get into it today, but one of our next few Laker videos, I'll do a deeper dive into just like how spacing is supposed to work and why JJ's been harping on that so much. It mostly has to do with putting guys in the right spots so that you're tilting the offense to get the kinds of shots you want from the players that you want. That's basically the main purpose of spacing, right? There's a lot of improvement that they can still make on that end, but just Luca getting back to where he can be as a shot maker while LeBron and Austin are both healthy and in rhythm will go a long way towards lifting this team to a more elite level on the offensive end of the floor. And that's why I'm not really concerned. Like, I saw enough in the Boston game to think that they can beat Boston. I'm going to pick Boston. I think everybody should pick Boston against everyone. They're just the safer bet. But I saw enough in that game from Luca and LeBron attacking the Boston Smalls to go like, oh, like, I think they can win that series. When I was scouting the Dallas-Boston series last year, I literally came on the show in my series preview and said, I think Boston's going to blow them out. I didn't see a pathway because of some specific issues with the matchups and the inability that Dallas had to create space because of their non-shooters on the floor, their poor above the break shooters, in the way that they could sit rim protection under the basket. The difference with the Lakers is when they're healthy and they have Rui Hachimura in the lineup and Dorian Finney-Smith, they don't have a single player in that five-man grouping that you can help off of. And so they should be able to create more space. LeBron and Luca should be able to punish the Smalls. Again, it was a loss. There was a lot of disappointment there. I didn't think they played well. Luca looked bad for most of that game. There's a lot of negatives, but I saw enough out of that to be like, oh, I think they can beat Boston. That was an encouraging thing for me. The Nets game was literally a confluence of events. I'm not worried about it, but it's a nice opportunity for JJ to refocus the team. And it's a reminder for you guys that Luka can still come so far as a shot maker. That brutal from Austin and Luka last night, 11 for 40 from the field. They're not going to shoot like that very often. All right, guys, that's all I have for today. As always, I sincerely appreciate you guys for supporting me and supporting the show. We will be back tomorrow in the evening. We're going live on YouTube at the end. I think it's Denver, Minnesota, if I remember correctly. And then I think, is it Celtics Thunder? I think it's Celtics Thunder in the first game. So jam-packed ESPN slate tomorrow that we're covering on YouTube live. I'm recording a mailbag tomorrow that will air on Thursday as well. But again, as always, I sincerely appreciate you guys for supporting me and supporting the show, and I will see you tomorrow night.